In the quiet corners of Louisiana's wetlands, a way of life has endured. A land of water, a land of wildlife, and a land of working people. For generations, these marshes have fed families and shaped culture. And yet these same waters hold a lesson for the world. How a looming threat became the spark for one of the greatest conservation comebacks in history. The wetlands of Louisiana are among the richest ecosystems in North America, home to thousands of species. They shield us from storms, they store carbon, they feed fisheries, and they sustain communities. But here lies a challenge. Nearly 80% of this land is privately owned. Conservation here cannot exist without the hands and hearts of the people who call it home. And at the center of it all stands a creature as ancient as the marsh itself, the American alligator, a cultural icon woven deep into Louisiana's identity. Not long ago, the alligator story was one of decline.
In the 1970s, there were less than 100,000 alligators in the wild. Today, there are over 5 million across the United States. In Louisiana alone, it's a $250 million a year economic impact.
By the mid-1960s, relentless hunting had pushed the species to the brink. So Louisiana closed its hunting season in 1962. And just 5 years later, the alligator was declared endangered. For a moment, it seemed both species and the communities who depended on it might vanish. Then, in 1973, the world took a stand. Nations came together to create CITES, an international treaty to protect species from the threat of overexploitation. And at its very first meeting, the American alligator was placed on Appendix 1, the highest level of protection. But Louisiana dared to ask a different question. What if the way to save the species wasn't prohibition, but partnership? In the late 1970s, biologists at the Louisiana Department of Wildlife and Fisheries put that question to test. By 1986, the first wild egg collection permits were issued. Rural families, ranchers, fishermen, and trappers took a leap of faith. They placed their trust in science, in the system, and in a vision that tied conservation directly to their way of life.
One of the most incredible experiences that I was able to have while working in the role for the Louisiana Alligator Advisory Council is going to spend the day with an alligator farmer collecting eggs in the marsh. And I was able to see firsthand how the revenue from the sale of eggs benefits the landowners. They were able to use the dollars that they would receive for the sale of eggs to undertake restoration projects in the wetlands, whether it be dredging to restore water flow or planting new vegetation in the marsh.
The model they built was simple but powerful. State biologists, backed by the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, provided the science. Private landowners safeguarded wetlands and opened access to nests. Licensed farmers raised hatchlings under strict quotas, returning a portion to the wild. Farmers paid landowners for every nest, creating a direct incentive to protect the marsh. For families in hard-to-reach places, conservation became not an abstract ideal, but a way of living. And out of this, entire rural economies began to thrive. Egg collectors, trappers, farmers, tanneries, chefs, and tour guides. The wetlands provided.
CITES, which stands for the Convention in International Trade of Endangered Species of Wild Fauna and Flora, is actually a treaty that's put in place in order to ensure that trade in plants and animals does not affect their survival in the wild. There's a complete chain of checks and balances from a state, national, and international level. Alligator is the most highly regulated form of wildlife trade in the world. It's the only form of wildlife that has a serialized tag number that follows the harvest of the animal all the way through the leather goods manufacturing process, all the way through the finished product. And what we found is that all parts of the supply chain have been able to adhere to the CITES rules. We actually embrace it because we know that that's what provides legitimacy to our end consumers. People today expect assurances that trade in wildlife is going to be sustainable, and that CITES tag and that CITES number on that product ensures that to the consumer at the highest level.
CITES provided the framework. Louisiana provided the proof. The United States made it work. Years of rigorous science, nest counts, population surveys, and recovery metrics told a story the world could not ignore. By the mid-1980s, the alligator had rebounded, and CITES parties agreed to downlist the species to Appendix 2, allowing strictly regulated trade. This was a turning point for conservation. For the first time, CITES showed that recovery could succeed through science, enforcement, and sustainable use. Every alligator skin carried a serialized CITES tag, a mark of trust, traceability, and transparency. Legal trade was monitored, verified, and taxed. Poaching became not just illegal, but unmistakable. The impact has been extraordinary. Over 1 million wild alligators harvested sustainably. More than 10 million eggs collected. 6 million farm-raised alligators sold, with an annual economic impact of more than $250 million. And behind every number lies science. Hundreds of peer-reviewed studies. Research stations like Rockefeller and Ben-Hur. International collaborations linking Louisiana scientists to conservationists around the globe. The American alligator became not just a survivor, but one of the most intensively studied reptiles on Earth.
Wetlands today are the fastest disappearing ecosystem on the planet. As a matter of fact, the United States has Louisiana, which is the largest landmass of wetlands in the country, and 80% of those wetlands are privately owned. So that income from alligator eggs is massively important to restoration to our wetlands. And those wetlands are also home to 8,000 other species of plants and animals, making that revenue more necessary than ever.
Louisiana's success reached far beyond its borders. From Nile crocodiles in Africa, to saltwater crocodiles in Australia, to caiman in Latin America, nations looked to Louisiana and the United States for a model. Because Louisiana proved something profound. Wildlife can be conserved by including people, not excluding them. This was conservation, the American way, science-driven, community-based, and internationally accountable.
The alligator populations have thrived and rebounded in ways that I don't think that the architects of the program could have ever imagined. For anyone who says that they don't think that CITES is necessary, I think they need to take a look at the story of the American alligator and see the success that can happen when you have this type of collaboration and cooperation with the framework that CITES provides.
The American alligator is more than a species. It is a way of life. It helps put children through school. It protects wetlands. It sustains rural families. And it shows the world that conservation can succeed when people, science, and policy move together. This recovery was built on partnership. Louisiana's Department of Wildlife and Fisheries, private landowners, American industry, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, the Department of the Interior, and CITES standing together. The American alligator stands as living proof that with vision and cooperation, a species can be brought back from the brink and kept thriving for generations to come. This is the scales of success, a story of resilience, a story of partnership, and a story of how Louisiana, the United States, and CITES turned legal trade into a global conservation triumph.